When you look at the Griffin family, Chris is usually written off as the sweet, somewhat harmless, and entirely clueless middle child. But if you've been paying attention over the years, you'll know that Chris hides a much darker and highly questionable side.
Lindsay, this is my mom, my little brother Stewie, and my dog Brian.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Today, we are taking a deep dive into the most terrible Chris Griffin moments in Family Guy. Let's start the show. We are kicking things off with Season 9, Episode 11, German Guy, where Chris's innocent search for a new hobby takes a terrifying and historically dark turn. Have you ever wondered what it looks like when Chris has such a terrible judge of character that he accidentally becomes best buddies with a literal, historical war criminal? Well, a trip to a local puppet shop leads to one of the most bizarre and painfully slow feuds in Quahog's history. The story begins with Peter trying to help Chris find a new hobby to keep him occupied.
Yeah, Dad?
We are gonna find you a hobby. What do you think of that?
Okay.
There you go, that's the spirit.
While walking through town, they are intercepted by the neighborhood creep, Herbert. In a moment of supreme irony, Herbert tells Chris not to waste his time hanging around the elderly because they are dying, before immediately dropping to his knees and begging Peter to just let him sniff Chris's hat. Ignoring Herbert's usual unhinged weirdness, Chris eventually wanders off and stumbles across a wooden puppet store run by a seemingly sweet, elderly German man named Franz Gutentag.
Well, Chris, puppetry is a wonderful art form. You can create an entire world right before your eyes and watch it come to life.
Wow!
Despite the obvious oddness of a teenager wanting to hang out and play with puppets with an old man, the two hit it off and become fast friends.
Seeing a young person like you enjoy puppetry makes me so happy. I feel like we could become good friends.
That sounds like fun!
However, Herbert soon discovers this new friendship and rushes straight to Peter and Lois with some genuinely startling news.
He's bad news.
Why? What's the problem?
Chris is friends with a Nazi.
What?
He reveals that Franz Gutentag is a fake name and that the man is actually Franz Schlechtnacht, a former Nazi prison guard. It turns out that Herbert was a World War II pilot and was actually a prisoner of war at Franz's camp, where he was subjected to harsh treatment, which, hilariously, just meant Franz forced him to sort the camp's recyclables.
It all sounds kind of sketchy.
I'm telling you the truth. I swear on my nephew's grave.
Since Peter and Lois don't entirely believe the old man's wild story, Herbert tries to warn Chris directly, but Chris refuses to buy it, assuming Herbert is just jealous of his new friendship and is trying to manipulate him into doing more free manual labor around his house.
Help me what? Clean your pool with my shirt off? Or wash your car in jean shorts? I know what you're about, Mr. Herbert.
Choosing his new friend, Chris goes back to the puppet shop, and Peter even drops by to personally thank Franz for being such a good buddy to his son.
Listen, my wife and I appreciate how nice you've been to my son with all the puppets and whatnot, and we wanted to invite you over for dinner.
Oh, wonderful.
But things take a wildly dark turn when Chris asks to use the restroom and discovers a hidden room filled with horrifying memorabilia. Realizing his dark past has been exposed, Franz locks both Chris and Peter inside his basement to keep his secrets safe.
You two know my secret. I must be sure no one ever finds out the truth.
Well, so what, are you gonna kill us?
Perhaps, Mr. Griffin.
It looks like they are completely doomed until Herbert happens to be walking by and spots the boy of his dreams trapped through the basement window.
You were right, Mr. Herbert. Franz is a Nazi, and he's keeping us prisoner down here. Get help!
Suiting up in his old military uniform, Herbert arrives to save the day, leading to what is built up as an epic showdown between the two old men. Of course, since they are both ancient, the battle is incredibly, agonizingly slow and puts the audience to sleep. The geriatric fight eventually spills outside, where Franz meets his ultimate demise thanks to the greatest enemy of any elderly person, a 2-inch-high step.
Say good night, you nut. It's time to give you a proper German funeral.
Moving on to Season 4, Episode 2, we have a storyline that takes Chris's usual awkward teenage crushes and turns them into a shockingly dark, true crime-inspired nightmare. Have you ever wondered what would happen if a middle schooler was actively coerced into a literal assassination plot? Well, Chris finds himself in exactly that wildly disturbing situation when his new teacher takes advantage of his infatuation. The story kicks off when Chris's regular teacher wins the lottery and promptly quits her job, making way for a beautiful new substitute teacher named Mrs. Lockhart.
What do you see here, Chris?
2 D's and an F.
Naturally, Chris is instantly smitten with her, but instead of just shutting down her underage student's highly inappropriate crush, Mrs. Lockhart decides to weaponize it. She manipulates Chris, promising that they can be together permanently, but with one massive, highly illegal condition: he needs to get rid of her husband for her.
This isn't a flip book, Chris. They're instructions. If we're going to be together, I need you to kill my husband.
If this terrifying setup sounds completely unhinged for a cartoon, that's because it was actually based on the chilling real-life case of Pamela Smart. Smart was a woman who notoriously convinced her underage boyfriend to carry out the exact same dark deed, and she is currently serving a life sentence for the crime. Going through with the plan, Mrs. Lockhart ropes Chris directly into the assassination plot, even giving him written instructions for the hit. Thankfully, Chris's terrible hygiene habits end up saving the day, as Lois accidentally discovers the written murder instructions hidden right in his dirty laundry.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Chris is gonna murder Mrs. Lockhart's husband. We gotta stop him.
Lois teams up with Stewie to conspire against the teacher, desperate to find answers and teach Chris a valuable lesson before he does something that permanently ruins his life. Ultimately, Chris manages to walk away from the hit before going through with it.
For God's sake, Chris, you murdered Mr. Lockhart.
What? No, I didn't.
Oh, come on, Chris. Everybody's done something they're not proud of.
Hilariously realizing that the whole plot is doomed because he doesn't even know how to drive a getaway car. Frustrated by his incompetence, Mrs. Lockhart declares that they are through and decides she will just have to do the deed herself. While Chris avoids becoming a convicted felon, the fact that he came this close to taking someone's life for a middle school crush makes this easily one of the darkest things he has ever been involved in.
You can watch TV anytime. I'm starving.
Lana, this is gonna be a real long trip if you don't knock off the crap. Love you.
Moving on to Season 6, Episode 12, we get to see exactly what happens when Chris actually lands a genuinely sweet girl, only to completely ruin it by turning into an arrogant jerk. Have you ever wondered what would happen if Chris actually took dating advice from Peter? Well, he completely fumbles a fantastic relationship by treating his new girlfriend like absolute garbage just because he thinks that is what women want. The story kicks off when the family takes Brian to the vet and Chris instantly falls head over heels for a sweet blonde intern named Anna.
I never wanted anyone like this. It's all brand new.
Chris gets severe tunnel vision and is desperate to find an excuse to return to the clinic to see her again, which leads him to actually try and injure Brian just to force another vet visit.
Brian's sick. Mom, get your keys.
Chris, I'm not going to the vet.
When he finally gets back to the clinic, he strikes up a conversation with Anna and shoots his shot with arguably the worst pickup line in television history. Sometimes I have to poop for a long time, now you say something. Miraculously, this off-putting and bizarre comment actually works, and Anna agrees to go on a date with him. Their first date is at a romantic Italian restaurant, but Chris almost blows it in record time when he gets nervous and asks Anna if she has ever made it with one of the dogs at the clinic.
No, stupid.
Chris, just relax.
Okay.
Instead of getting up and leaving like any sane person would, Anna simply tells a blubbering Chris to relax, admits that she really likes him, and plants a big kiss on him.
If you don't mind, I was hoping I could ask you a few questions about the birds and the bees.
My boy wants to know about shit.
Things are going incredibly well, and when Anna comes over to the Griffin house to hang out, she accidentally spills her drink.
I'll clean that up.
Oh, that's okay. I'll get it. Have fun at work.
Chris sweetly offers to clean it up for her, which unfortunately catches the attention of Peter. Seeing his son act so kindly prompts Peter to deliver some truly terrible Father of the Year advice. He convinces Chris that if he wants to get anywhere with a girl, he cannot treat her like a human being. He has to act like a bad boy and treat her like crap.
The next time you see this girl, treat her like crap. And you'll be cooler than a mid-'80s novelty answering machine message.
Chris foolishly trusts his dad's logic and puts this toxic attitude to the test on his very next date at the movie theater. Marching up to the box office, Chris arrogantly demands 2 tickets, 1 man, and 1 that needs to do what I say. Anna's sanity finally kicks in, and she rightfully dumps him on the spot, telling him to stay away.
Chris, honey, what's wrong?
Anna took a dump on me.
What?
Yeah, she broke up with me.
A heartbroken Chris is then subjected to Peter's hilarious attempts to set him up with other girls to make him feel better, which includes Peter literally trying to set him up with a sock puppet.
Sorry I'm late. Your dad told me all about you. You sound like a swell fella.
Thanks.
Thankfully, Lois steps in and tells Chris to just find a simple excuse to go back to the vet and apologize. Using a very confused Brian as a prop, Chris returns to the clinic, completely drops the arrogant bad boy act,
That's not who I am.
Oh yeah, no, you're a cool guy.
Brian, shut up!
and gives Anna a sincere apology. By finally deciding to treat her with kindness and respect instead of acting like a terrible person, Chris manages to earn a second chance and a kiss, proving that Peter's dating advice should be avoided at all costs. For our final spot on the list, we are looking at Season 11, Episode 13, Criss Cross. Have you ever wondered what lengths Chris would go to just to avoid being punished by his parents? Well, after getting caught stealing money directly out of Lois's purse, Chris makes the wildly absurd and dangerous decision to run away from home and literally move in with the neighborhood creep, Herbert. The story kicks off at school when Chris is ruthlessly mocked for wearing a pair of non-name brand imported sneakers.
Man, high school is rough. This year it's sneakers. Last year it was all about being overweight and wearing a baseball cap. Hey guys!
Desperate to fit in, Chris goes to his parents to ask for cooler shoes, but Lois explains that money is tight and it simply isn't possible.
Look, Chris, I'm sorry, but money's tight right now.
Yeah, I even had to take a second job as a door-to-door vacuum salesman.
Refusing to let this go, Chris takes matters into his own hands and is caught red-handed stealing cash directly out of Lois's purse by none other than Meg.
Is it so weird that Mom and Dad would leave the house without their purse and wallet? I wonder where they are.
Seeing a golden opportunity, Meg agrees to keep his crime a secret from their parents, but only on the condition that Chris becomes her absolute servant and does whatever she says.
Meg, this is how a lot of starts.
I mean it, Chris. I'll tell them. Mom, Chris took money out of the—
Okay.
At first, Meg just uses her blackmail material to make Chris clean her room and do her homework, but her demands quickly escalate into some wildly psychotic tasks. She forces Chris to act out lines for her while they watch the movie An Officer and a Gentleman, purposefully terrifies him by doing a gross Undertaker impression while putting in her contacts.
Your eye!
Don't worry about it. Just put the lens in.
Ah!
Where are you? I can't see anything.
And even demands he stand outside the local Planned Parenthood to photograph girls from her grade. The demands become way too insane for Chris to handle, and instead of just facing the music and taking his punishment from Lois, he decides to run away from home forever. With nowhere else to go, Chris knocks on Herbert's door and asks if he can move in.
Live with me? My goodness, I feel like I want to pinch myself to see if I'm dreaming. Dog, it's real.